What's up, TTFF people, and welcome to the Tucson Family Food Project. Boy, do I have a recipe for you this week. So this week we're making pizza, but it's probably not like any pizza you've ever had before. Before you look at the ingredients and think, this is really weird, I promise you, I only give you delicious recipes. So just try it, and I promise you're gonna end up liking it. But basically, the reason we're doing this recipe is because I want to show you how to make the dough. Now, once you learn how to make the dough, you can pick whatever toppings you want. These are the toppings I picked because I think it sounds delicious. And I want you to try some new things. And know that I am so proud of you anytime you step outside your comfort zone in the kitchen. It means you're learning. So get ready to take a walk on the fancy side as we make caramelized onion, arugula, and date pizza. First off, to make the dough for our pizza, in your meal kit you have 2 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. This is a mixture of 1.5 teaspoons of sugar and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. This is 1 packet or 2 1/4 teaspoons of dry active yeast, and you will also need from home 3/4 of a cup of warm water. If you don't have a measuring cup at home, if you use the container the dates came in, and you can see this little line I drew on here, if you basically go from this lip to that one, right about there, that's 3/4 of a cup. And when you get this water ready at home, we only want it to be warm, not hot. And to make our pizza, we have arugula, shaved onions, ricotta cheese, 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. This is separate than the olive oil we're going to use to make the dough. Dates, if you have not had dates before, I am telling you these are some of my favorite things in the world. And our secret ingredient, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. And to make this recipe, you're just going to need a couple of large bowls, a wooden spoon, a fork, a regular spoon, and a kitchen towel or saran wrap. So to make our pizza dough, we're going to start by adding in about half of our flour into a large bowl. And we're also going to add our salt and sugar, as well as our active dry yeast. I'm going to give this a mix. Now we're going to add in our 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. And our 3/4 of a cup of warm water. We're going to use our wooden spoon to mix this very well. So now you can see we have kind of a liquidy dough going on. So we're going to add in more of our flour, but not all of it. I'm going to reserve like a little corner here of our flour, and I'm just going to gradually add this in. Add in some more flour. And we're not adding in all of the flour because we might not need it. There's a chance that we could use all of it, but we're going to play it by ear here. We're going to see what it takes to make this into a cohesive, elastic ball, and you'll see when it starts pulling away from the sides of the bowl, this dough is ready. So I'm going to reserve this little portion of flour here. I'm going to pour the rest in. And we'll hang on to this just in case we need it. I'm actually going to get in there with my hands. So as I'm doing this, I can feel like there's pockets of moisture here in the dough ball. And what I'm doing is getting those pieces of moisture around the side of the bowl to absorb any extra flour that we have in here. All right, this is looking really good. And you can see there's like a stretchiness to it. That's exactly what we want. We want it to feel like elastic almost. So now I have a sticky dough ball. What we're going to do next is with our other large bowl, and some of our reserve extra virgin olive oil, we're going to pour a touch in here. And I'm going to use my hands to coat this whole bowl. Now we're going to move the dough ball into here, and we're going to move it around until the whole thing is coated in oil. Just like that. Now all we have to do is just cover this with our kitchen towel or saran wrap if you have it. And we're going to put this in a nice warm place until it doubles in size, or about 30 minutes. And while that's happening, I'm going to preheat my oven to 425 degrees, and let's get going on the pizza toppings. Alright, now to make our caramelized onions, I'm just going to heat a little bit more of my extra olive oil over medium-low heat. I'm going to throw in our onions. I know a lot of you don't like onions, but I promise you when these are done, they are going to be so delicious. So basically all we're going to do is we're going to cook these low and slow until they start to caramelize or turn brown. This is going to take about 15 to 20 minutes. Don't rush, it's okay, it will happen, just give it time. Alright, you can see the caramelization is starting to happen. The onions are starting to brown. These have been going for about 10 minutes. I think they're probably going to need at least another 5. And as I'm stirring these, I'm like breaking up the onions because they're cut really thin. They're like paper thin, which I love. But we just want to try and get as much of the onion in contact with the pan as possible. I'm going to show you what these look like in about 5 minutes. Alright, so this is 5 minutes later, and you can see how much color my onions have gotten. And we're just going low and slow. The heat is not very high, it's just because they've been on here for a while, they're getting like this. And I think these are just about ready for our secret ingredient, the reason I know you're going to like these onions, maple syrup. This is going to enhance the flavor of the sugars that are already in the onions, and it's really going to pop off when we put it on the pizza with the dates, the ricotta cheese, and the arugula. So I'm just going to mix this up. And we're just going to cook this for another about minute. These will be good to go. Alright, these caramelized onions look perfect. We'll go ahead and turn off the heat. Let's check on our dough. And here's what our dough looks like. Boom, looks perfect. Just about doubled up in size. So the last thing I'm going to do with this before I put it on a baking sheet here, so you might have heard that, it just released a little bit of air. So as I just move it with my hands, I'm going to deflate it a little bit, and now I'm just going to knead it a couple times. fold it over, knead it, fold it over. Okay, so the dough is nice and smooth. That's what we're looking for. So now this is ready to go onto our baking sheet. Before I put my dough on my baking sheet, I'm going to use the rest of the olive oil that I have left. That'll go on our pan here. We're going to use our fingers to oil up this pan. That's going to help to make sure that the pizza doesn't stick. If you have a little brush that you want to do this with instead, feel free. I am one of those people who just likes using my hands for everything. That's why the first thing on all the recipes is wash your hands, because having clean hands really helps when you're in the kitchen. Okay, so now we have our dough, and what I'm going to do here is basically just work the dough out, and I'm going to spread it so it takes up the whole pan. There's no real scientific way to do this, and you'll see how it kind of contracts. That's perfect. That's just what we want. And if you notice it's like kind of fighting you, we're just going to give it a minute and let it relax. So I'm using a really big baking sheet, so I can kind of tell already that this might not reach the whole end of my baking sheet, and that is totally fine. We'll see my dough's a little thin right here. I'm going to try and get some dough from other places to kind of shore that up. And ooh, this is perfect. You can see there's little air bubbles in there. That means that the yeast is working. This is going to be a really good dough. Okay, so for the size of my pan, I don't think I'm going to be able to reach the edges here, which is totally fine. Better to have too much pan than not enough. And as I'm pushing this down, I'm kind of feeling to make sure that there's no like real thick spots. And if there are, I'm just mashing them down, spread them out a little bit. And if you have even just a little extra olive oil left over in there, throw it on top. And now we can move on to our toppings. So we're not using regular cheese for this, we're using ricotta cheese. So I'm just going to get my spoon and throw some dollops of this all over my pizza. And I'm going to use the back of my spoon to kind of help spread it out a little bit. But it's okay if they're kind of just in clumps like that. Now we're going to put on our dates. So dates are very, very sticky. So they normally have pits in them, little stones. These are pitted dates, so there's no stones in them. And you'll see there's like a natural cut in each of the dates. You can just kind of pull them apart. You probably don't need to use all of these because we gave you a lot of dates. I love dates. This is what I eat for dessert literally almost every night. Dates and peanut butter. They're super delicious. And it like scratches that itch when I want something sweet for dessert, but it's not unhealthy. It's like just a natural thing. You can throw some peanut butter in there and you get some additional health benefits. Plus, it is just super delicious. All right, now this is ready to go into the oven at 425 degrees for about 13 to 15 minutes or until the crust is golden brown. Then we're gonna top it with our arugula. Here we go. So here's what our pizza looks like. I am so sorry I forgot to show putting the onions on here, so I just literally used my fingers and just moved them all around and put them where they need to go. So this pizza is almost done. The last thing we're gonna do is add on some of our fresh arugula. And now the reason we're doing this is arugula is a very peppery flavor. So you can try this, use as much or as little as you want. You don't need a ton, but we have so many sweet ingredients on here. We want to balance it out with something. So the arugula is going to be a perfect counter to all the sweet things we have going on in there. And that is our finished pizza. All right, time for my favorite part, the taste test. So let's see, I'm gonna get a bite here that has everything on it, the caramelized onion, the dates, and the arugula, because I wanna counteract that sweetness. That was good. That was really good. So different than any other type of pizza you would ever have. The ricotta cheese is really delicious, but that arugula balances out everything. If you try the arugula by itself, it's peppery, it's almost spicy. But on this, it doesn't taste like that at all. It kind of balances everything out. The onions, I definitely get the maple syrup from. They're very sweet, plus all the natural sugars that are in the onions themselves. The dates are delicious. I love this crust. This is a different crust than the one we did earlier in the year when we used the Oatman Farms flour. This is just one that you can make with regular all-purpose flour. I think it came out great. The yeast in it helped make it like nice and airy and light. It feels really good. I cooked mine for about 16 minutes. I said 13 to 15 in the video. Mine needed 16, so you can kind of play with it. But I think this came out really, really good. So there is our caramelized onion, date, and arugula pizza. Now I've been giving you all some pretty easy recipes. This week was obviously a little bit more challenging with a few more things to do, but still nothing too complicated. And like I said earlier, the whole idea for this recipe is to learn how to make the dough, because you can use any toppings you want once you know how to make the dough. I picked ricotta, dates, caramelized onions, and arugula. You could pick pizza sauce, cheese, pepperoni, or whatever you want. I hope you all enjoyed this recipe. Thank you so much for stepping outside of your comfort zone and trying something new. And if you happen to be new to the Tucson Family Food Project and you're like, why is this guy talking to people like he already knows them? Please visit us at www.ttffp.org so you can see what we're really doing at the Tucson Family Food Project. Every Friday we make meal kits for kids who are the recipients of this video. Every week is a new recipe that they learn how to cook themselves at home. Now I was lucky enough to take home ec in middle school, but unfortunately most schools don't teach it anymore. So consider the Tucson Family Food Project home ec in the home. Everyone has to eat, and learning to provide for yourself is an absolutely critical life skill. And I'm so happy to tell you that the feedback we're getting from the program leads us to the only logical conclusion, which is that our program works. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to help us in our mission to feed the kids and you can't afford to donate money and you don't have the time to volunteer, I promise you it is just as important to like, subscribe, share our content, follow us on Instagram, and tell all of your friends. And to all my TTFF people, I love, appreciate, and respect all of you. And I'll see you right back here next week with another delicious recipe. So until then, peace. I might just go eat those onions by themselves.